Title: My grandma just died and now my dad and his brothers are fighting like wolves. Something's wrong and I think she lied to everyone. Part 1. Hi Reddit. I don't even know how to start this or if anyone will care, but I feel like I'm losing my mind and I need to say it somewhere before I explode. Why grandma, dad's mom, passed away 2 weeks ago. She was 89 and we were all kind of expecting it. Peaceful, in her sleep, yada yada. I've always been close to her, even more than my cousins were. She raised me after my mom left when I was 5 and my dad was drowning in grief and work. So this is really personal. She was one of those old school women who baked pies, wore perfume every day, and said things like, "You never air out family business," with a smile that somehow felt more like a threat. She also had a lot of opinions, most of which were whispered at church luncheons or muttered while slicing fruit. The day she died, things shifted in a way I can't explain. My dad, 55M, and his two brothers, Rick, 58M, and Sean, 52M, started acting weird. Not the normal grief stuff, like crying or reminiscing. They were tense. Like quiet and snappy and not looking each other in the eye. My Uncle Sean straight up walked out of the house before we even sat down for dinner. I didn't really clock it at first. I thought grief makes people weird. But it's been getting worse. There's been a lot of chaos with the estate. Grandma left behind a will, but the lawyer is being cagey about it. Said it's more complicated than usual and we'd need to come in for a full reading in person, all of us. Which I thought only happens in movies. That was red flag #1 to red flag #2. My dad keeps sneaking into grandma's house in the middle of the night. I only know because I've been staying there, sorting through her things, and twice now I've heard the front door creak open around 2 or 3 a.m. And it's always him. He acts like he's checking on things, but I swear I've heard drawers opening, pages flipping. I found one of the guest room closets empty one morning, like someone pulled out a box or suitcase. Red flag #3, my Uncle Rick said something really strange during lunch yesterday. We were talking about grandma's recipe box. She always said it was her only true inheritance, lol, and Rick joked, "Well, at least that isn't a lie." And I swear to God the whole room went quiet. My dad put his fork down. Sean didn't even blink. I asked, "What do you mean?" and Rick just changed the subject. They're hiding something. I know they are. And I think whatever it is, it's not just money or who gets the old jewelry box. It feels bigger, deeper, almost like they're ashamed. Last night I was going through her attic. Mostly old photos, Christmas decorations, some boxes of my drawings she saved, which made me cry like a baby, I won't lie. But tucked behind one of the boxes, I found an old envelope. It was addressed to someone named Eleanor. Not my grandma's name. I opened it and inside was a letter. A love letter from my grandfather. But here's the thing. My grandfather died before I was born. I've never seen his handwriting. I didn't even know they wrote letters. The letter started with, "My dearest Eleanor, it kills me to know I'll never be able to hold our son and call him mine." I literally froze. What the hell? Who the F **** is Eleanor? What son? Why did grandma keep this? I shoved it back in the envelope and I haven't told anyone yet, but I know, this isn't just about inheritance. I think there's a whole part of my family story I never knew existed. And I'm starting to think grandma wasn't the sweet old lady we all thought she was. I'm going back to the attic tonight, and I'll update if I find anything else. Wish me luck, people. Part 2. Hey Reddit. I wasn't planning to update so soon, but things have escalated. Fast. I don't know how to explain it other than, I think my grandma was living a double life. Or at least hiding one. So after I posted last time, I went back up to the attic. Same dusty mess. Same weird silence. I felt like I was being watched the whole time. Even though I was alone, I dug deeper into the back corner, moved some old luggage, and a trunk filled with moth-eaten sweaters. That's when I found a taped-up shoebox shoved behind a rickety shelf. It had Eleanor written on the top in faded pen. Inside, a few more letters, all signed by my grandfather. A black and white photo of a woman I don't recognize. She's young. Maybe in her 20s. Definitely not grandma, and a birth certificate. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this, but the certificate lists my grandfather as the father, and the mother is Eleanor Martin. The child? Matthew James Martin, born in 1966. That's 2 years before my dad was born. Who the hell is Matthew? I flipped the birth certificate over and scrawled on the back in my grandma's handwriting was, "This changes nothing. He will never know." I felt sick. I still do. I haven't shown anyone yet. But I asked my dad if he ever heard of a Matthew in the family. He literally dropped the cup he was holding and asked me where I heard that named. I lied. I said I read it in one of grandma's old recipe books. He got real quiet. Then he said, "That name doesn't belong in this house." And walked away. Oh yeah. Something huge happened in this family. And everyone knows about it except me. Also, I caught Uncle Sean burning papers in the backyard last night. Real subtle. When I walked up he told me to go inside and stop snooping. I wasn't even sneaking around, bro. I was literally getting a LaCroix. Now they're trying to kick me out of grandma's house. They said it's time for the real family to handle things. My dad hasn't spoken to me all day. If this is what real family looks like, I want no part of it, but I'm not leaving. Part 3. So, yeah. I found Matthew. Or I should say, Matthew found me. After the last post, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the birth certificate. The name. The letters. The eerie way my uncles keep acting like they're all hiding the same body under the floorboards. I figured if this guy was real, maybe he left a trace. So I did what any chronically online, mildly spiraling person would do. I looked him up. Facebook gave me dozens of Matthew James Martin S, but one caught my eye. Lives 45 minutes from grandma's town. Has no family listed. Looks exactly like my Uncle Rick, but with darker haired. I messaged him. Just one line. "Did you know Eleanor Martin?" He read it. No reply. 2 hours later, I get a call from a private number. I pick up, and this voice says, "Who are you and why are you asking about my mother?" I froze. I told him I found something in my grandmother's attic. I didn't give him names. I asked if we could meet. He said, "You have 1 hour. Come alone." I told my best friend where I was going, not trying to get murdered, thanks, and drove to a diner just off the highway. There he was, sitting in a booth by the window. Mid-50s, neat haircut, tired eyes. wearing a blue flannel like someone's cool history teacher. He looked up at me and said, "You look like your grandmother." And that's when I knew he knew her. Not in passing. Not a fling. This man was connected. Long story short, Matthew grew up believing his father was some man Eleanor dated briefly. But in the late 90s, Eleanor got drunk one night and spilled the truth. Her son's real father was married. He had a whole other life. A wife. Kids. A family name too respectable to ruin. She said she loved him. But his wife, my grandma, found out. And threatened her. Paid her off. Promised she'd never let the bastard come near her sons. Matthew never met his father. He only had a name, and he never told anyone until me. He asked if I'd found anything else. I told him about the letter. The certificate. The way my uncles are acting. He just nodded and said, they knew. All of them. She made them swear they'd never say my name. I asked why he never came forward. He looked at me and said, I didn't want a piece of the pie. I just wanted to be seen. But your grandma made sure I stayed invisible. I broke down. Right there in the diner. Because how the hell do you process that your grandma, this woman who raised you, erased a human being from existence, lied to her husband, to her sons, to me? Matthew gave me one thing before I left. A photo. Him as a baby, being held by my grandfather. Not a copy. The original, he said. I always wondered why she gave me this. Maybe she had a heart after all. I have no idea what to do now. Do I confront my dad? Do I go full scorched earth and tell the lawyer? Do I burn everything and disappear to Paris with Matthew? Kidding. Kinda. Anyway, part 4 coming soon? I guess. I have a feeling we haven't even scratched the surface yet. Part 4. Hey Reddit, I wasn't planning to write this yet, but something happened last night, and I still can't breathe right. It's like the air got sucked out of my body and replaced with grief I didn't even know I was holding. After meeting Matthew, part 3, I decided to tell my dad. I had to. I couldn't carry it anymore. Not with the photo in my hand. Not with my grandma's ghost haunting every drawer in this house. I asked him to come to grandma's place one last time. Just the two of us. When he walked in, he looked exhausted. Not physically, emotionally. Like someone who's been guarding a dam their whole life and finally sees it cracking. I didn't ease into it. I pulled out the photo of Matthew as a baby in our grandfather's arms and said, why didn't you ever tell me I had an uncle? My dad froze. Literally just stopped moving. He sat down slowly. Looked at the photo. Then just whispered. She kept it. Then he broke, and I mean, broke it. I've seen my dad cry maybe twice. When his dad died. When my mom left. But this? This wasn't tears. This was grief. Years of it. Shaking out of him like his body couldn't hold it anymore. He told me everything. When he was 14, he overheard an argument between my grandma and grandfather. Screaming. Part 4. Hey Reddit, I wasn't planning to write this yet, but something happened last night, and I still can't breathe right. It's like the air got sucked out of my body and replaced with grief I didn't even know I was holding. After meeting Matthew, part 3, I decided to tell my dad. I had to. I couldn't carry it anymore. Not with the photo in my hand. Not with my grandma's ghost haunting every drawer in this house. I asked him to come to grandma's place one last time. Just the two of us. When he walked in, he looked exhausted. Not physically, emotionally. Like someone who's been guarding a dam their whole life and finally sees it cracking. I didn't ease into it. I pulled out the photo of Matthew as a baby in our grandfather's arms and said, why didn't you ever tell me I had an uncle? My dad froze. Literally just stopped moving. He sat down slowly. Looked at the photo. Then just whispered. She kept it. Then he broke, and I mean, broke it. I've seen my dad cry maybe twice. When his dad died. When my mom left. But this? This wasn't tears. This was grief. Years of it. Shaking out of him like his body couldn't hold it anymore. He told me everything. When he was 14, he overheard an argument between my grandma and grandfather. Screaming. Slamming doors. Something about a woman named Eleanor. And a baby. ASONM. Grandfather wanted to tell the truth. He was planning to meet Matthew. Maybe even bring him into the family. But my grandma refused. She threatened to leave. Said it would destroy everything they built. 2 weeks later, my grandfather had a stroke. He died a month after that, and that was it. The secret was buried. My grandma made her son swear to never speak his name. She told them, what's one mistake in the face of an entire legacy? My dad said he wanted to reach out to Matthew. He even tried. He looked for him once in college, but my grandma found out and shut it down. Cut off his tuition for a semester. Said he was betraying her. He told me he's lived with guilt every single day since. He looked at me and said, I failed him. I failed my brother before I ever met him. I don't think I've ever seen my dad look small before. But last night he did. He looked like a kid who just wanted to hug the sibling he never got to know. He asked to meet Matthew. Said he doesn't care what the rest of the family thinks anymore. I texted Matthew this morning. He hasn't replied yet, but now I'm sitting here with this pain in my chest because I realized something. My grandma didn't just hide a secret. She stole a relationship from all of us. And the thing is, she was the one who held me when my mom left. She was the one who stayed up late sewing buttons on my school uniforms. She was the one who told me I was her favorite. How do you grieve someone you love and hate at the same time? I don't have an answer yet. Part 5. Okay, I seriously don't know what's real anymore. Everything's been so emotional lately, and I thought after the conversation with my dad, things would start to settle. But today I found something that's thrown everything into chaos again, and I don't know what to believe. I was going through the bottom drawer of Grandma's dresser, the one with all her scarves and perfume bottles, and I found a locked envelope taped to the underside of the drawer. It was sealed with wax. Literal wax, like some Victorian drama, written on it in her handwriting. To be burned. Not to be opened. So naturally I opened it. Inside? A will. A completely different will than the one we were told about. No lawyers. No official stamps. No witness signatures. Just her handwriting on 5 pages of yellowed paper. Here's the part that's confusing the hell out of me. In this will, none of the property goes to my dad or his brothers. Not a single heirloom. Not the house. Not the land. Instead, everything is left to MJ.M. And under that, my second son, born of regret and grace. MJ and Matthew James Martin. But the weird part? It's dated last year, a full year before she died. Meaning she knew where he was. She knew he was still alive. She just never told anyone. But that's not even the part that's making my brain melt. The bottom of the last page. In tiny, shaky handwriting, she wrote, "If you are reading this, then I failed. I wanted to be brave. I wanted to fix what I broke, but I couldn't destroy what I built, not after everything. I'm sorry. Burn this, and let me be remembered kindly. I don't know what to do. I show this to the lawyer? To Matthew? Will it even matter? Is this redemption? Or another manipulation? Part of me wants to believe she changed. That she wrote this out of guilt, but the other part, the part that's choking me right now, wonders if this is just another control tactic. One final way to make us all dance around her even in death. Why Dad doesn't know yet, neither do my uncles. But once this gets out, everything is going to explode. This woman ruled our family with lace gloves and an iron grip, and even in death, she's still pulling strings. I need time to think. I'll be back with part 6 when I figure out what the hell to do." My uncle broke into my room and tried to take the letter. Now I know they've been hiding more than just Matthew. Part 6, hey Reddit. I wasn't going to post again until I had something solid, but I can't keep this in. Something bad is happening. And I'm starting to realize that this isn't just about some forgotten sibling. It's about control. And the lengths people will go to keep it. After finding the second will, the one meant for Matthew, I did something stupid. I told Uncle Rick. I didn't mean to, I just wanted to see if he knew about it. And his face when I mentioned MJM was all the answer I needed. He went white, like ghost white, and then he said, "You don't know what you're doing. Put it back where you found it. And don't tell your father." I asked him if he knew about Matthew. He didn't answer. He just said, "This family has been clean for decades. Don't muddy it now." I should have known something was coming. Later that night, I left the house to get some air. I was gone maybe an hour. When I came back, my bedroom door was slightly open. Nothing looked out of place until I checked the box under my bed. The envelope was gone, but I panicked. Like shaking panic. I tore the room apart. I called my dad. I even called Matthew. I felt like a bomb went off in my chest. Then 20 minutes later, my dad showed up. Holding the envelope, he told me Rick gave it to him, said I found something dangerous. But my dad didn't burn it, he kept it. He looked me in the eyes and said, "You were right. She tried to make it right. We're going to honor it." So now my dad is on my side. But it split the family in two. Uncle Sean isn't speaking to us. Rick sent a text saying, "You've destroyed everything she worked for." She worked for. I don't know what that means. What exactly did she build that was worth burying a son for? I went back into the attic today, searching for more answers. I found a stack of old journals wrapped in twine. I haven't read them yet, but I saw the first line in the first book. The first lie was easy. I read my grandmother's journal. Nothing makes sense anymore. She was protecting someone, but it wasn't who I thought. Part 7. This is the hardest thing I've ever written. I started reading the journals. There are dozens, dating back to the early 60s. Most of them are her daily thoughts, grocery lists, little snippets about church or the boys' school plays. But in between all that, there's something else. There's a story. Hidden, pieced together across years, and it changes everything I thought I knew. I end 1970, for years after Matthew was born, she wrote. They say I should hate the child. That I should despise what he represents. But I saw a photo of him today, and all I could think was, he has his father's eyes. And his father's kindness. I thought she meant her husband, but then, a year later, she wrote this. The real betrayal isn't what he did. It's who he chose. If they knew the truth, they'd never forgive me. And I've come too far to let them turn on me now. That line wrecked me, because it wasn't just about the affair. It was about her. About her secrets. In another journal, dated 1972, Eleanor came to the house. Said she wanted him to know his father. I told her the truth would only ruin him. But I wasn't talking about the boy. I was talking about mine. And then, the one that made me stop breathing. The boy is not your father's. He never was. And that's the one truth I'll carry to my grave. I read it 5 times before it sank in. Matthew isn't my grandfather's son. He's someone else's. But then who was Grandma protecting? Why did she pretend it was her husband's mistake? Why did she keep the letters and the photo? Why did she make her son swear silence over a lie? It doesn't make sense. Unless the man she was protecting was someone closer. I asked my dad if there was ever anyone else. A family friend. A cousin. Someone who used to be around and suddenly vanished. He said one name, a man named Thomas, Grandma's younger brother. I don't even know how to process that because if it's true, if Matthew was her brother's child, then the betrayal isn't just about lies, it's about blood and maybe shame, the kind that twists generations into knots and makes people do things they can't ever admit. I don't know if I'm right. I don't know anything anymore, but I can feel it. There's something darker coming, something unforgivable. I'll post part 8 when I have proof, because if I'm going to burn this down, I'm bringing the match. I read the final journal. I know who Matthew's father is. And the truth shattered my family beyond repair. Part 8, final. This is it. The last post. The final blow. The truth none of us were ready for, but all of us needed to know. After my last update, I spent 2 full nights reading every journal. Every scratch of ink. Every little thing my grandmother wrote across 5 decades. Most of it was mundane, normal. But tucked in between the lines was a story. Her story. And by the end of it, I felt like I was standing on a cliff with no way back. Let me walk you through how everything fell apart. First, the journals confirmed what I feared. Matthew is not my grandfather's son, he's my grandmother's. And her brothers, yeah, let that sit for a second. Her younger brother, Thomas, who vanished in the early 70s under mysterious circumstances. The family always said he moved abroad for work. But he didn't. He disappeared after Eleanor, his girlfriend, showed up pregnant, and that's when the final journal revealed everything. Thomas told me he loved her. That they hadn't meant for it to happen, but it did. That he would marry her if I gave my blessing. But how could I? I knew what father would do if he found out. We'd both be out on the streets. So I told him no. I begged him to leave it alone. I told him I'd handle it. I gave Eleanor money. Told her to leave town, raise the child quietly, and never return. I told her I would protect him. That one day, I would make things right. But she came back. She wanted him to know the truth. And I panicked. I told everyone the child was my husband's mistake. That he'd cheated. That there was an affair. They believed me. They wanted to believe me. My boys hated him for it. They mourned their perfect father. They built their lives on the ruins of a lie I told to protect something far worse. I told Thomas to leave, to never contact us again. And he listened. I thought I was doing the right thing, that bearing the truth would keep the family intact. But now I'm dying. And he never forgave me. And Matthew, he grew up without a family. Because I couldn't face my own shame. I felt numb. Like my skin didn't fit right, because in trying to protect her family, my grandmother had poisoned it. She destroyed my grandfather's memory. She turned her sons against their father. She erased a man who never did anything wrong. And the man she tried to protect, Thomas, died 10 years ago, alone, in a one-bedroom apartment in New Mexico. I looked it up. So what was it all for? I brought the journal to my dad. He didn't believe me at first. Refused to even touch it. Then I read it out loud, word for word. His hands started shaking halfway through. He whispered, "So I hated my father? For nothing?" I think that was the moment something in him broke. He cried. Like full on, knees on the floor crying. My whole life I thought my dad was made of stone. But in that moment, he crumbled. And I couldn't fix it. We told Rick and Sean the next day. Sean left the room. Rick punched a wall. We brought Matthew. Sat him down. Told him the full truth. He didn't say anything for the longest time. Then he looked around the room and said, "You all made me disappear. And I still turned out better than you." Honestly, he wasn't wrong. He walked out. My dad tried to follow him, but Matthew just raised his hand and said, "We're not brothers. We're just strangers who were lied to by the same woman." He hasn't answered our calls since. We gave the journals to the lawyer. And the handwritten will. He said it couldn't replace the legal will on file, but the family agreed to split everything evenly anyway. No one wanted to fight anymore. Not after what we lost. The house is being sold. And why uncles aren't speaking. And why dad hasn't left the apartment in 3 days. And me? I feel emptied. I loved her. Why grandmother was my second mother. She raised me. She sang to me when I was sick and told me bedtime stories about her garden growing when I was born, and now I know she was a liar. A manipulator. A coward. But also, she was scared. Raised in a time when shame could kill you. When your own family could abandon you for something like incest, even if it wasn't something you chose. She did what she thought she had to, and it ruined us. Final thoughts. Matthew doesn't want a family, and I don't blame him. Why dad wants to make it up to him. But you can't undo decades of silence. You can't heal a wound you pretended wasn't there. As for me, I'm leaving this house, taking what little peace I can find, and I'm keeping one thing from her journals. A line she wrote near the end. If the truth burns the roots, maybe it can still save the tree. I don't know if it saved ours, but at least we're not living in the dark anymore. That counts for something, right? Thanks for listening, Reddit. I hope wherever Matthew is, he finds something better than what we gave him. Goodbye.